If you could stay perfect in other people's eyes by taking a punishment you do not deserve, would you do it? Keep that question in your pocket, because by the end, you may hate the answer you give yourself. We begin in a small hearing room that smells like lemon cleaner and fear. A thin folder sits on a table like a trap with good manners. A gold-tipped pen waits beside it, bright and heavy, like a tiny trophy that bites. The student in the chair is Eli, and Eli looks calm the way a locked door looks calm. A row of adults watch Eli as if truth were a bird that might land if they hold still.
Please confirm your statement for the record.
Eli nods once, then signs the page with the gold pen, and the pen digs a groove that is too deep. The room exhales in relief, as if a fire alarm has been silenced by a polite lie. You can feel the quiet joy of order returning, like a suit that finally fits. Eli's mouth barely moves, but the look is strange, like relief mixed with a stomach punch. You already know Eli did not do it, and that is why we are here. Let me walk you back before this signature made the room feel safe. Eli grew up in a house where love was warm, and the thermostat sat on achievement. The walls held framed awards that ran in a neat line like soldiers. There were family dinners where grades sat at the table like extra guests.
We are proud of you, and I know you will keep proving who we are.
That is Marian, Eli's mother, and she means every word. She believes in Eli like some people believe in weather, steady and powerful. She does not threaten, she praises, and the praise is sweet and heavy. Eli also has a younger brother named Noah. Noah is average on paper and expert in silence, and he notices what praise costs. On Eli's 17th birthday, Marian gifts a gold pen with a shallow smile.
This suits you because you never miss the line.
The pen writes smoothly, but the tip presses hard and leaves tracks that mark the wood below. The house glows with pride, and also with a quiet rule that no one has to say out loud. The rule is simple, and it says, never let us down. Most rules hide in the wallpaper, so you forget they are there until a corner peels. The peeling begins with a scandal at school that could also be a scandal at work in another life. Someone leaked the exam key for a test that defines futures. Someone moved a memo they should not have moved, if you prefer an office, over a classroom. The result is the same, which is fear dressed as outrage. Rumors hurry through halls, and the phrases change, but the tone does not.
I heard it was a senior who had access to the server.
I heard it was the golden one, because who else could reach that close to the lock?
Eli does have access, which is not guilt but is close enough for lazy minds. Security pulls logs and footage and freezes frames like they can pinch answers out of pixels. Meetings gather like clouds that never rain. Eli sits in chairs and keeps their hands still, because still hands seem honest. Marian keeps a brave face that is also a helmet.
We will handle whatever comes with grace, and we will stay perfect, because that is what we do.
She does not mean fake, she means intact, and that is harder. Noah watches Eli rehearse apologies alone in the mirror with no words, just breath.
Why are you practicing for a thing you did not do?
Eli does not answer, because there is no easy answer for a habit. Eli learned the ritual of overcorrection long ago. Make the hurt smaller than the cure, and people call you noble. If you take more blame than you should, the room relaxes, and the room will love you for it. This is the secret economy of some families and some institutions. You pay with your back, and they pay with their smiles. The investigation floats between almost proof and almost doubt. A camera angle is unclear, then unclear again, like a conscience with bad lighting. A timestamp looks off by a minute. Then someone finds a daylight saving note, and the minute returns to its cage. A rival makes a comment that aims to bruise without leaving a mark.
Must be nice to always be trusted.
Eli thanks her, which is a small form of judo that confuses the unkind. Days pass, and a meeting is called where the adults make a careful offer.
If a responsible party volunteers, we can resolve this swiftly, and everyone can move forward.
Resolve this swiftly is a soft phrase that hides a hard desire. It means give us a name, and we will give you peace. Marion looks at Eli with love that carries a request wrapped inside it.
Whatever happens, remember who we are.
That is a beautiful sentence, until it becomes a leash. Eli looks at the gold pen and feels the familiar weight of the family brand. A brand is a story worn as skin, and Eli has worn this skin for years. Eli signs the confession with neat letters that do not shake. The pen digs in, the groove deepens, and the adults thank the universe for a tidy ending.
We appreciate your honesty, and we believe in rehabilitation.
That word lands like sugar on a bruise. The sanctions are polite and exact. Eli loses a leadership post and keeps a scholarship on a tight leash. People start to speak to Eli the way people speak to rain after a long drought, with respect and a little distance. The campus moves on, because moving on is the main sport in places that call themselves serious. Eli should feel wrecked, but instead feels clean. Relief floods the body like a bath that is too hot, comforting, and painful at the same time. You see, Eli has found the button that quiets the room, and the room's quiet is a drug. Noah is not quiet.
You keep choosing the whip when no one is holding it.
Eli says nothing, and that silence is not innocence, it is a mask. Eli stops going to the club that offered a path to glory. Eli tutors first years instead, and calls it service, and tells no one that service feels like penance. Marion brings tea to Eli's desk at night with a small smile that tries to be tender and lands as pressure.
I know this will make you even stronger, and we will be even better than before.
The sentence is meant to heal, but it sounds like a contract with new fine print. A teacher leaves a note with careful sympathy.
I respect your courage, and the community does too.
Praise keeps arriving as if it were oxygen, yet it tastes like dust. An anonymous message appears in Eli's locker with plain black type.
Liar or saint? Pick a side.
Eli stares at the page for a long time, then folds it into a square and pockets it like a badge. Noah sees the pocket bulge and knows the sickness by its shape.
You want to be nailed to a story because it gives you a role and a stage.
Eli tells Noah to drop it, but that only makes Noah dig. Noah reaches out to friends who watch networks like hawks. He finds the real leak, and it looks like a person, not a villain. The culprit is not cruel, just cornered, and thought one small cheat would stop a larger fall. The small cheat turned into a cliff, as small cheats often do. Noah collects proof cleanly, like a medic lifting evidence from a wound.
I have everything, and it is neat, and it is enough to clear you.
Noah waits for joy on Eli's face and gets fear instead.
Why do you look scared when freedom is on the table?
Eli finally speaks with a voice that sounds like a door that never opened before. I am scared because if the truth comes out, the story of us breaks, and I do not know what fills the space after. Noah wants to shout, but he swallows it and breathes through his nose.
You do not want justice, you want to keep playing savior because it is simple. And people clap.
Eli flinches like the word hit bone. Eli says the clap keeps the house standing. Noah says a house that needs clapping to stand is a tent in a storm. Eli says nothing, which is also a choice. Days pass, and an awards night arrives with lights and a podium and soft music that tries too hard. Marion polishes the gold pen with a thumb like a ritual, then hands it to Eli for a photo.
This is ours, and nothing takes that from us.
Eli looks down and sees a long groove on the dining table where the pen has been pressed over years. It is a neat trench that runs like a scar no one mentioned. Eli steps onto the stage and hears the applause like rain on a car roof, pleasant and far away. Eli looks at the podium, and then at the pen, and then at Noah standing in the back with proof folded in his pocket. Eli clears their throat once and speaks in a voice that is not dramatic and not meek. The voice is simple, like a hand set down flat on a desk. I did not leak the exam, and I signed that confession because I was trained to keep the story neat, and I thought neat meant love. The room does not breathe for a beat, then breathes too loud. Marian's face cracks in a way that grief cracks, not anger. The head of school blinks twice and reaches for a note card that now says nothing useful.
We will review this immediately, and we thank you for your candor.
You can hear the gears of a big machine trying to shift without grinding. Eli sets the gold pen on the podium and steps back from it the way you step back from a hot stove. Noah walks to the side door and hands a folder to the security lead, and facts walk into the light like a tired dog. The days that follow are not glamorous, and that is the point. The real leaker comes forward and shakes, and the institution faces its hunger for easy endings, and people apologize without wailing. Marian goes quiet for 3 days and then knocks on Eli's door at night.
I did not know I was asking you to play a part of me that I had not even named.
Eli says they agreed to the part because the applause kept the house warm.
What do we have if we are not perfect?
Eli says we have practice, and we have mornings that do not hurt, and we have a table with no groove. Marian lets out a breath that sounds like a person finally sitting down. Noah laughs from the hall, because practice is not romantic, and that makes it true. The gold pen goes into a drawer by the sink next to old keys and rubber bands. It is still heavy, but now it is harmless. The family starts to hang fewer frames and talk more with their hands full of nothing. Eli goes back to the club and not as a star, and it feels better than being a statue. The school changes the way it investigates, and the forms now ask different questions. They ask how pressure works in a body, and who is allowed to say no, and where we store the need to look good. Eli keeps tutoring, and now it is not penance, it is work, and work has edges that feel clean. Noah stops playing detective and starts playing music again, and it sounds slightly out of tune and alive. Marian tries recipes that do not come out perfect, and nobody posts them, and everyone eats them. This is what truth looks like most days, and it is boring in a beautiful way. I promised to return to the question from the start, and here we are. Would you take a punishment you do not deserve just to stay perfect in other people's eyes? The first answer is yes if you want a smooth day, and a quiet room, and the kind of praise that tastes like medicine. The longer answer is no if you want to breathe with both lungs. Perfection is a costume that eats the person who wears it. Atonement without guilt is self-harm with manners. Truth is a slower applause, and it keeps clapping when the lights go out. Let me tie a few knots for you, then I will let you go. When someone in a family keeps volunteering for the blame, the family does not get better, it gets lazy. When an institution loves tidy endings, it will miss the human mess that could have taught it something real. When you write your name with a pen that belongs to a myth, your hand gets strong and your voice gets small. Take back your hand, even if your voice shakes for a week. Let people be disappointed, because disappointment is the price of honesty in places that bought the wrong story. You are not the role they trained you to play. You are the person who can change the script. Now I want to pull you into a few fast scenes that dig a little deeper, so the lesson sticks like a good bruise that keeps you from touching the hot stove twice. Picture the rival who said, "Must be nice," and watch her realize that neat stories erase her too, because if one child must be perfect, then someone else must be the mess. Picture the teacher whose note praised courage, then see him learn to praise a different thing, which is the slow work of process over the quick thrill of confession. Picture the administrator who asked for a volunteer and meant closure, and watch him write a new policy that forbids the search for an easy face when a system failed. These images are not cinematic, they are small, and small is where real change hides. Eli visits the real leaker after the dust settles, and the room is plain, and there is water in paper cups.
I was scared, and I thought one shortcut could hold back a year of slide.
Eli nods and does not give a speech, because speeches are for people who want to feel tall. Eli says two words that are hard to say and easy to spell. Eli says, "I understand." That is not forgiveness, and it is not rage, it is the ground under both. The two agree to testify to the boring facts if needed, and then life resumes its unglamorous job. There is a last image I want you to carry out of this story with your keys and your phone. It is the dining table with the long groove left by the pen. The family leaves the groove there for a year to remember, then they sand it down together on a Saturday morning. Dust floats in light, and no one speaks, and the wood becomes smooth again. You could call that healing, or you could call it maintenance, and either name is fine. The important part is that the pen is not in charge anymore. Now let me loop our feelings through a few tight cycles, so your nerves remember how this story worked on you. You felt curiosity when the room exhaled at the false confession. You felt relief when the camera cleared Eli for a moment. You felt doubt when the timestamp argued back. You felt a small peace when a teacher praised courage. You felt a spike when the locker note asked liar or saint. You felt the pit drop when Noah offered proof and Eli refused. You felt release when Eli told the room the truth on stage. You felt quiet hope during the drawer moment when the pen turned into an object again. This is the rhythm of a mind learning, and your mind can use it again later when a bad bargain knocks. The bargain will promise a clean day in exchange for a dirty year. Decline that offer like a bad loan. Here is a tiny toolkit you can keep in a pocket that does not need a gold pen. If your choice keeps a story neat but makes you smaller, question the choice. If praise arrives when you bleed for no reason, check who is clapping and why. If someone calls suffering noble when guilt is missing, walk away until the language improves. If you inherit a role that asks you to lie for love, trade the role for a chair at a plain table, and then set the table yourself. We are going to close now, but only after I give you the moral in a line you can repeat when the mirror looks persuasive. Love measures presence, not performance. Atonement without guilt is a trap with soft pillows. Truth pays out slower, and it pays forever. Thank you for staying with me to the end, and for giving your attention to a story that asks for patience. If this story moved you, please tap like and hit subscribe, and leave a comment with the part that stayed in your head. If you want to support this channel, you can scan the QR code at the bottom right, or use the link in the description to donate. In the description, you will also find links to other works from a very different series, and I think you will enjoy them too. I appreciate your time, and I hope to see you in the next story. So take care until then, and meet me here soon.